The Captain of Marvels is a superhero man, super comic book movie starring Captain Crunch. I feel like garbage. I should say, I feel like physical garbage, not emotional garbage, because this movie wasn't that bad. You're not supposed to know that until the end. I think the new format for when I talk about movies and stuff is gonna be a bit less script, bit more just talking, and I think I'm gonna try and organize a bit. Let's split it into things I didn't like and things I did like. Let's go! I liked the action. Although more accurately, I liked some of the action, or maybe most of the action. I don't know. I think it was a little bit more easy to follow than other Marvel movies tend to be. I know Marvel has a tendency to kind of have shaky cam action scenes, and this movie definitely has its fair share of that, but there's a fight scene in the beginning where she's like training with this other dude, and I thought it was cut pretty well. I was mostly able to follow the motions of their kicks and punches and throws and all stuff like that, but when they're having like a car chase scene or just some normal fight scene on a subway, it gets a little messy, but it wasn't quite as assaulting on the senses as other Marvel movies have been in the past. The action I really liked comes more towards the end, and why it happens is kind of a big spoiler, but it was by far my favorite part of the movie. So I guess I kind of liked and disliked the action, but you know, I didn't like the writing. Look, I'm no screenwriter. I'm not even a word writer. I'm no screenwriter, but some of the dialogue in this movie was just, it was just real. It was just, no. Like, I'm all good with corny or cheesy dialogue. Like, I love that stuff. But there are just some scenes in this movie that are just, they're just stiff, and like the lines are really disingenuous. Like, they don't sound like things people would say. And in certain cases, I think that's kind of the point, because, you know, aliens and everything. But there was just one scene in particular, and it's hard to pin down if it was the writing's fault or the actor's faults, but I'm gonna lean more towards the writing, because the lines they were given were Can I help you? I'm gonna say it was the writing's fault, because it just didn't sound like a real conversation. Obviously I don't remember the words exactly, but it was something along the lines of one character being like, "Do you like to fly a plane?" And then the other person responds, "Oh, I sure do love to fly those planes." And it's like, oh, okay, so she likes to fly planes. And there were a couple other instances of that throughout the movie, of characters just like stating things out loud, kind of exposition-y, not quite as gratuitously expositional as that one scene in Aquaman where they're in front of the statues and one king is explaining to another king how democracy works, just so the audience can know how democracy works. And this movie had jokes. There were jokes in it. I think I remember laughing at a couple of them, but it's definitely not one of the comedic Marvel movies like Ragnarok, Guardians of the Galaxy, or I don't know what Ant-Man tried to be, I guess. And even when jokes didn't land, it wasn't hard to listen to. Like in some other Marvel movies like Age of Ultron, when a joke just doesn't land, it's just like, okay, keep going with the action. But in this movie, when it didn't land, it was just like, okay, and it just kind of kept going. I didn't really mind. There weren't really any hashtag cringy jokes in it. And there's one character who I thought was legitimately funny, just like overall. But in general, it's definitely one of the more serious Marvel movies. And speaking of the writing, that leads me into the next thing I didn't like very much. Captain Marvel herself. I haven't seen Brie Larson in anything else, as far as I know. I watched Scott Pilgrim years ago. I should probably watch it again. And I'm pretty sure Brie Larson played Envy Adams in that, if I'm not mistaken. And I don't remember really what she did in Scott Pilgrim or how she was. And I'm sure that Brie Larson is a great actress. I can't speak to any of her other works. But in this movie, I don't know if it was just the material she was given or if it was the character she was given, but she was just stiff. I was not interested in Carol Danvers at all. And I guess there's like some sort of anti-SJW, anti-feminist stuff going on with something Brie Larson said. I do not know anything about any of that. This is just going completely based on what I saw. And I was pretty excited for this movie. I thought she looks like a cool character. I love her design. She looked like she had a really cool power set, and I was like, oh man, can't wait to see her in action. And she just doesn't interest me at all. She's just kind of like the most generic form of a Marvel protagonist you can have. Like, she's witty and sarcastic and tells jokes in a very human way, which I thought was interesting. It was almost like they didn't know whether they wanted her to be more Kree or more alien. Wait. It's like they didn't know if they wanted her to be more Kree or more human. Because at certain points, she's just like super analytical, like reading statistics out loud and stuff, and being very stoic with her delivery. And then the next moment, she's like, haha, why don't you put this up your butt? You know? And I'm not trying to say like, oh, she was a bad character because she wasn't one-dimensional, she had multiple personality traits. It was just unclear on who she really was. And maybe that's even debatably the point, but it really just felt to me like a stiff character delivering things very bluntly, oftentimes with no real emotion behind it. I want to say there were a couple scenes where she definitely did deliver some pretty emotional performances. There's especially a dialogue where she's talking to an old friend and they both start tearing up, and that almost got me. That was a really good scene. But speaking of her friend, you know what? Here, let's tie this together. What I liked. The acting. Carol Danvers' friend, the one that's in the trailers in the sunglasses, she was great. And even to bring up that same monologue from before, her performance during that monologue in particular was fantastic. And I really felt it. But as great as that performance is, it really just kind of emphasized how much Brie Larson's performance didn't work for me. Because her friend was great, and I really liked her. I liked her performance and everything. And then when you go back to Carol Danvers' thing, and she's just kind of stiffly saying jokes and not really having a personality, I'm like, oh, right. Samuel L. Jackson, great as always. And even to jump back to the writing thing a little bit, I feel like they wrote Nick Fury really well. He really felt like a young version of the Nick Fury that we see today. And I'm also immensely impressed by the fact, and means no offense to Samuel L. Jackson, that they made him look that young convincingly. And what is he like? Yeah, Samuel L. Jackson is 70, and he easily looked like he was maybe 35 in this movie. Which, haha, look at that! Another natural segue. That leads into the next thing. I liked the practical effects. Or I guess more specifically, the practical makeup. Like I said, Samuel L. Jackson very convincingly looks like a young man, and even though in general he's aged very gracefully in real life, I must say. But like if I had no idea who Samuel L. Jackson was before this movie, and he just didn't exist in my mind, and I saw him in this movie, I would have no idea that he was like a 70-year-old man in makeup. And the same goes for the Skrull. I thought the Skrull looked great. When I saw little screen caps of like leaked stuff or the stuff that they showed at Comic-Con forever ago, and their concepts and everything, I thought they looked really cool, but part of me was afraid that they were just gonna make them CGI monstrosities because they're so alien looking. I'm like, well, they're gonna have to. They're gonna make them all CGI, and it's gonna look really wacky. But no, there was a Skrull, one specific Skrull featured very prominently throughout the entire movie, and I just totally believed he was a Skrull the whole time. He actually shapeshifts into someone else who is played by the same actor who plays him as a Skrull, and I legit had no idea. That's how good the makeup was, is I could not even tell what the guy's face looked like under the makeup, and he just totally looked like his character to me. This movie definitely felt like it got better as time went on. A common theme I've seen in reviews that I totally agree with is that the first act just kind of dragged. It got off to a slow start, and I wasn't really interested in any of it. It just looked like a generic sci-fi movie. But once she gets to Earth and things start picking up, and then especially near the end where everything culminates, that it got better. It got way better as it went on. But I wasn't super emotionally invested in this one. Not as much as I was emotionally invested in Homecoming or Infinity War, although I think that's kind of a given. Infinity War was a big deal. But it was paced very well, except for the beginning. Like I said, it was very slow. But it went along at a very natural pace. And there was a twist in this movie that I genuinely did not see coming, and it kind of threw me off at certain points because I thought I saw something coming, but then I didn't see something else coming. Like, I would predict a part of the twist, but then there would be another twist on top of that that would be like, whoa, and totally turn it on its head. And it was really well executed. There's the biggest twist in this movie, I think, will catch a lot of people off guard, hopefully in a good way. It caught me off guard in a good way, although I do wonder what the ramifications of it will be in future Marvel movies. It kind of dismisses some theories that some people I watch on YouTube have talked about, but in this movie at least, it was a very well executed twist. And there's plenty of nods to future Marvel movies and stuff like that because it takes place in the past, but something else I liked about this movie is that it really felt like it could stand on its own just like as a movie. This is one of those Marvel movies that I don't think you have to see other Marvel movies to get. It's a pretty individualistic story about Captain Marvel herself and her origin story, and I really appreciate that. I liked and also didn't like the visual design, I guess you could call it. I've actually kind of considered starting some sort of subgenre of this series called something like, I don't know, did I dig the visual design of this Marvel movie or something? Because the costume design and the set design, but mostly the costume design of every Marvel movie is really pretty hit or miss for me. Infinity War was great. It looked great. It was colorful. Everyone's costumes looked cool except for Captain America's suit, which I almost want to make a whole video about. Why did they make it so black and dark? I thought we were done with making grimdark versions of Marvel characters. And I have a lot of feelings towards the Wasp and Ant-Man and the Wasp. I understand why she looks like Ant-Man, but did you have to use that gross, poopy, olive brown yellow? Anyway, I'm getting off track. The character design and stuff in this movie was pretty nice. I really like Captain Marvel's suit, and I like how they didn't really dull down her costume. They didn't really gray it out like they tend to do with other Marvel characters. It is very prominently red, yellow, and blue, and I love it. It looks great. I love how shiny it is. I love the materials it's made out of, and I like her hair. I like the way her hair looks in the costume, if that makes sense. I like that they even incorporated that helmet thing that she has in the comics sometimes, where she has like her hair sticking out of a mohawk. That looked really cool to me. And like I said before, the scroll looked great, not just from a practical effects standpoint, but I really liked their design. It was a very simple, classic green alien type look with the pointy ears and the bald green heads and everything. But this also leads into the thing that I probably liked the least about this movie. I didn't like the colors. I know I just said that I loved the colors on Captain Marvel's suit, but they were not bright. This whole movie was not bright. This movie was dark and brown and just really neutral colors that don't pop out at all throughout the entire thing. And this is especially a bummer because I thought Marvel was over this. Like how Thor 1 and Thor the Dark World and Ant-Man, and honestly even Winter Soldier, as great as that movie is, all of them just have very flat, gray, boring color palettes. And then Guardians 2 came out, and it was popping all over the place. It was like, whoa, my eyes, it feels like I'm watching a real comic book. And then Homecoming came out, and Spider-Man's suit was super red and super blue, and the Vulture was super green. And then Black Panther came out, not quite as colorful, but you know, he had the suit that was super purple, and the city was really bright and stuff, and everything was visually striking, for better or for worse. In Infinity War, goodness me, it was colorful as hell. And now Captain Marvel comes out and it's just dull, which is amazing because it's supposed to be this big space adventure with Skrull and Kree and lasers and stuff, and it just looks boring. And it really bums me out because I just hope that Marvel isn't going back into just making grim dark palettes in their movies. These are comic book movies, you know? So there were some things I didn't like, and there were some things that I did like. And I know I said I was going to keep it organized, and then I kind of went off the rails anyway. But now it is time to finally see if I dug this. Did I dig it? The movie. Fucking do it. Sure. Yeah, I would say I digged it. It wasn't bad. It was pretty neat. Dragged quite a bit during the beginning, and I wasn't really emotionally hooked throughout the whole thing, and how drab it looked all throughout didn't visually hook me either. And it's definitely not up there with my favorite Marvel movies, but I might watch it again. You know, maybe if it comes out on Netflix or something and I just feel like watching a Marvel movie, then why not? So do I recommend going to see it? Yeah, sure. It was a lot better than Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm not sure how much that's saying, but it was pretty good. If you're a fan of the MCU, then you'll probably enjoy this. And even if you're not big on the MCU, it's kind of a neat sci-fi action movie for the most part. It's kind of a buddy cop too. Kind of a buddy cop movie. But yeah. Goodbye forever.